We are rolling.
Welcome
everybody. Welcome to
Wacko Radio.
Episode 1. Oh yes, Episode 1. Has to start somewhere, and might as well start it now. Right, to Liz Wacko?
Sure, why not?
We got Liz Wacko over here.
Hello.
And Brad Wacko here. And tonight we are going to discuss a spooky new trailer that is hot right now on the internets.
It's blowing it up.
It's blowing, it's going, and it's growing.
Exactly. So let's get whacking.
Let's get whacking tonight.
In Wacko World.
At Wacko Radio. Here we go. Alright, this is it. Here we are. I hope everyone enjoyed that little taste of music. I know I did. Liz?
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Who doesn't like some music? You know what else is a thing that people don't like? Do or don't like. And that is clowns.
I don't like them, for the record. I don't, never have, never will.
Never will. I'm on the fence with clowns. You know, I had the opportunity to dress up as a clown for a Dairy Queen. Did you know this? A Dairy Queen events back in I'm gonna say 2004, 2005.
We'll have to post that picture on the Wacko Radio website.
There's a picture out there.
Can see. It would be fitting because we're gonna talk about it. I think that's get that for the fans.
That does sound fitting.
Anybody who likes to listen, we like to refer to them as whack-offs.
Yes,
right?
All you whack-offs out there.
Look for the clown, Brad Wacko and his clown picture.
That was a fun time.
It's floating out there somewhere.
It's floating. Yeah, so I can't say I'm 100% anti-clown, but I understand how they're pretty.
You are a clown.
That's true, but I understand how a clown is with the makeup and all is kind of freaky.
I read random fact because I hate clowns so much, and I don't, and not even that I hate them, but I get nervous. They make me if I did watch the It trailer, I sucked it up and watched the trailer, and I feel like I break a mild sweat. It's I get hot for a second because I jump and
it's a good trailer.
Doesn't sit well with me. But I read because I was interested in why that is because there's an actual thing that's a common thing where people are I don't like clowns, and they get real weird about it. So I'm not the only one.
Oh no,
so
you can't. There's a name for it.
I'm sure there is. I should look that up. But I looked it up and it said it's because that the face paint, because if it's painted on a smile, it with some people it makes you uncomfortable because you know that it's not a real smile. It's like a mask, so it's masking your real intentions. So you can be smiling and it can be evil. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, that makes sense. I get very sensitive to vibes and things like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like I don't like if I feel like something's fake, which I guess not a lot of people do, but
yeah, I bet you if you did a study or a poll or something that more people are afraid of clowns than aren't afraid of clowns.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's more common.
Bozophobia.
I'm sure I'll look that up.
Give it a lookies
to see what it is.
But clowns are cool. I like clowns in movies. I'm not a clown. It doesn't bother me that much, but it is creepy, and I think this version, the clown's name, if you don't know about it and the story behind it, the clown's name is Pennywise, the clown.
It's interesting.
Interesting, yes. And they did a good job, I think, with this new one. He definitely, I personally think, looks a lot creepier than Tim Curry's version back in I think 1990 was the original TV movie for It, which you sort of saw it, right, Liz?
Yes.
The original It, sort
I did. I saw it at a sleepover. Is very cliche.
As always.
That was always the thing. Let's put in it's really terrifying.
That movie's so long, but I guess for a sleepover.
It is long.
I guess if it's a sleepover, if you're up all night, might as well have a movie that's on for fucking 3 hours, I'm guessing it probably is.
It was always something. So I would always see parts because I would get scared.
Yeah.
And I would always look away.
But the problem with the old one, which hopefully, I'm not sure what this new one's going to be rated. I'm pretty sure it says it's going to be rated R, and which would be sweet, I think. Because the original one, since it was a TV movie, I mean, I guess it's TV whatever, TV 14 or whatever it was called back then. And I think it was a 2-night event. So it was split. So the first night, it was the first half of the original movie, which is the kids. Mm-hmm. And then, they all realize that they all see the same clown, and then they start really getting deep into it and try to take him out before they take them out. And then the second night is the rest of the film, which is the second half, which is them as adults.
Right.
And then they end up killing the clown or it, which it is even a clown. Like that's another thing. Like,
what is it?
What is it? And I don't know what it is.
Probably I would assume maybe just an evil spirit or not a ghost, but like an evil spirit or like some sort of demon. I guess.
I know in the original, and I'm assuming in the book that it was like a giant spider at the end, and that's how the movie ended. Is they find it. It's a giant spider, and all the adults start tearing them apart. I kind
of remember that. I do remember at one part, like seeing the kids and all, like the beginning of the movie. But like I said, I would always look away. I do want to refresh my memory, but I'm terrified, so I don't really want to watch it.
Yeah, but it's kind of cheesy though.
I'll have to watch that and then watch like 5 comedies after. But I remember watching it, and then the part where they're adults, it's sort of like you don't see it for a little bit. And they're adults, and they all get together in town or something for some reason. They get like together when they're adults.
Yeah, I guess they forget about it.
I think
like they just don't remember, except for the one guy.
No, I think they kind of talk about it, and they're like, oh yeah, blah blah. But then they get together and they all go out to like dinner or something. Yeah. Like they're reconnecting. And I remember, and there's like a part where they're like, oh, they're like at a restaurant somewhere, and and that song like it's all right. Whoa, it's all right. Which I'm sure that sounds terrible, but yeah, I'm not a singer, so I apologize. But you know what song that is. But I remember watching it and being so, like, oh yeah, let's just forget about all these terrifying things. Like,
but they do forget it.
Let's focus that what happened the last time we were all together.
Yeah, but they forget it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't forget.
Well, they do though. They all move away from the town.
Yeah, because of that. I wouldn't. I think they blocked it out.
They blocked it out.
Conspiracy.
Well, that's what they say children do. Don't children are tend to block out traumatic?
Well, you can do that as an adult. I mean, if something that really traumatic happened, you just block it out. I mean, there's people who literally can't remember, or they just start feigning. But anyway, that could be another episode. Moo. But I remember watching that and thinking like, oh yeah, like nothing's wrong. Let's pass the wonton, because they're in like a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
And they're just like having a grand old time. Like, yeah, let's forget about that weird thing that happened to all of us.
But I know this new version though, it's just them as kids.
Okay, so they don't.
So it doesn't. Yeah. So I don't know. Like they're saying how there's a plan, even though there's always a plan in Hollywood, and who knows how things end up. But the plan is to have 2 movies. One as kids, one as adults. So does that mean
that's interesting? Yeah.
Is this movie going to end open-ended, or are they going to kind of wrap it up?
I think it's going to be open-ended. That's my prediction on Wacko Radio.
Oh shit!
You heard it here first.
The first whack predict.
Yeah.
Whack and predictions.
I think that it will be, because why not? If they're going to make 2, then it can be sold as a pack, right? I mean, it 1, it 2.
It too. Too it for it.
Too legit.
Too legit for it. But the trailer, honestly, I think they did a pretty good job with the trailer.
Well, apparently, because it's been the most looked up trailer.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah, I have it right here written in my notes. It got 197 million views globally within 24 hours.
That's insane.
That's breaking some serious
I had no
records.
idea that it was going to be that popular.
It was huge. But you know what, though? I'll tell you right now. Here's another prediction, which maybe it's obvious, maybe not, but I think this movie's going to make bank. I think this movie's going to...
Oh, of course.
I think it's going to make a massive loads amount. Stranger Things being out and being popular is I think one of the reasons why it is going to be so successful. Yeah. Because it almost looks like you watch the trailer, fuck man, even the music kind of sounds like Stranger Things at certain parts.
That 80s feel to it.
And that's the other thing. In the original and in the book, when they were kids, it's 1958. And in this new movie, it's 1989. So when all the kids are doing their thing in this upcoming movie, which comes out September 8th.
Which is crazy that it's been so popular right now because
it's a ways away.
Today's date is April
4th. Oh, shit.
So that's...
I'm not a mathematician. That's like 9 months or some shit.
No, it's not 9 months.
But...
It's more like 5. But still...
But the fact that this new movie takes place in the 80s, and Stranger Things takes place in the 80s, there's just another, example of the comparison between the two. And I think we were just talking about this. I think this... And I'm hoping it starts a trend of horror movies taking place in earlier times because it's better. I mean, pre-technology, pre-internet, nothing against that stuff, but
people still managed without it.
They did, and it's just scarier. Right? You could get lost a lot easier before all this. You know, your car breaks down. You can't call for GPS. You can't call for fucking not GPS, but you can't call for AAA.
Well, you had to go find a payphone. Exactly. I mean, there were payphones for that reason, but you had to kind of... It's almost like it made us smarter but lazier at the same time. Like, you had to pay attention, right?
Oh,
you had to pay attention. You couldn't just be like, oh, I'll find it, and then Google it as you go. So I think that's also something that people who grew up without that like about Stranger Things and probably... This movie, because you notice no one's on their phones. People actually had to talk to each other.
Go to the library to look up the history of the town.
But it was like not an event, but it was something you had to do. Like you had to leave your house and go to the library.
Yeah.
If you needed help, you had to talk to the librarian. I'm not saying people don't do that now, but like I said, you have your phone in your pocket. You can Google anything. You can make a phone call. You can take a picture. I mean, all of these things in your pocket. And before you had different things you had to do to get those things. So, you know, in the times when you had one phone in your house.
Yeah.
So your friends would call.
Yeah.
And who would you never knew who was going to answer. You got to know people's families.
If your kid's missing, parent can't call their cell phone. They can't text them. They can't check their Facebook account. No.
There was no such... Yeah. Then that's another thing.
You need to call other people's kids' parents and friends and be like...
Or you had to know their whereabouts. Like, what was... You had to know them and know what would they be doing, you know? Like, oh, they would always go over to so-and-so's house and play this game, and parents knew their kid. I feel like they almost knew more what their kids were doing, what their kids' friends were doing because they had to.
Yeah.
So I think when you see things like this, it's like, oh, that's right, they don't have cell phones. There is no Facebook.
It's great.
There's people hanging out and doing things... You'd have to go to a movie rental place. You didn't have Netflix. So you see just all those kind of little...
Yeah.
I don't know what the word would be.
It just makes it scarier. At the end of the day, I think it's going to just make the movie much scarier and probably start a trend of more movies and probably specifically horror movies that take place pre-internet and pre-technology. And I hope they do because... I think it's just the way to do it. I mean, why not? You know what I mean? And it will, because this movie's gonna make some serious money. And that's the other thing with.
Oh yeah.
The interesting thing with like horror, if you go through kind of the history of horror, it really does come in waves. I think it's the only genre. There might be kind of like, oh, maybe there's a popular time for war movies, or obviously there was a huge part of history where like westerns were basically every movie. And those fucking disappeared for how many years and still are. Like, they sometimes release some westerns with, like, Hateful Eight, and they did that Magnificent Seven. But that was a genre that kind of fizzled away. But the horror genre, it really is in waves. And it's so absurd because they just base it... If a horror movie comes out and bombs, then they think, and Hollywood thinks, oh, people don't want to see horror movies right now. And that's bullshit. It's like, no, they don't want to see a shitty horror movie or a shitty movie. That's what happened. I think that Rings sequel came out, which is super random because the original Rings were... I mean, I guess it's not random with the... You know, saying that there are so many sequels and remakes, but I guess that Rings movie came out like within 6 months or whatever, and it bombed. Mm-hmm. And people, there were other horror movies in production that they got held because people were like, studios were like, we don't want to invest money in this. It's like, no, man, it's just that movie was probably a piece of shit. I mean, the original Ring, I never saw the Japanese version, but I saw the American version, and it was cool. I mean, it was scary. It's been a while since I've seen it, but... And then the sequels they made were like... What I remember was complete shit, and that was as a kid, so I imagine now, being a little bit older and hopefully wiser, that these movies have to be bad if you don't like it as a kid. I mean, you know what I mean? Unless you don't, but... I predict a Wacko prediction... A WP, as we'll call it. This movie's going to make serious cash, and then you're going to see a lot of horror movies. Probably similar ones, or at least ones
feel to it.
That take place in that. And I'm sure this movie's going to have an 80s soundtrack, and that's another thing that keeps happening. Like, okay, that was Wacko Dog whacking off.
He disagrees, I think.
He disagrees, but what the fuck were we talking about? Alright, well, let's talk about this trailer. Enough about the history of horror movies. Right. We're here to talk about...
You geeked out enough.
I geeked out, man. I got a little bit historical. But let's talk about...
The actual trailer.
September 8th. Spooky-ass trailer. World record-breaking trailer. That's crazy. Good for them. And actually, it's... You would think it would be like... Avengers or one of the superhero movies breaking some record, but the fact that it was just like horror movie that isn't like, it's not like people,
it's not it's a remake, so
it's like new Star Wars or something that people are ready for. It's just kind of like, if you don't follow like movie news, like you would have no idea this is coming out. Like, why would you? You know what I mean? And but I think they did do a good job. So the trailer starts off with the infamous scene that was in the book, in the original movie, of little Georgie with his little fucking paper boat playing in the storm, which...
It's like a monsoon, though. It's raining. It's so much rain.
Yeah, it's like, I don't care if the parents aren't there to stop him, but it's real great older brother. Like, there's fucking thunder and lightning. Slap on this yellow coat and go play.
Go play in the streets where it's raining really bad. In a town where kids fucking go missing. Like, apparently every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It's like, another missing poster. Well, so I can't think of a better time to go play by yourself. So
this kid's running, he's splashing, splashing.
Playing with his little weird motor.
Playing with his little fucking paper hat or
whatever.
Paper boat.
What do you say, like the SS Georgie or something?
SS Georgie.
Something like
little
that.
Georgie. And
he gets plowed by like that horse, like construction horse.
Yeah, that whatever, do not enter or whatever the fuck horse sign thing that is. Which, just, if you think about it, it's like, god damn, this kid's having a bad day.
Yeah.
Like, not only is like, it's my time to play, it's storming as a mother.
At that point, you should just go home. If you get plowed, oh my god, I almost knocked myself out.
I know.
You should probably just turn around.
I could just go.
No, I gotta keep going.
Because Lord forbid you can't get another piece of paper. And
he's like, nah. Like, it goes down. It's not like it's your wedding ring or something. Let's make it something of value. A paper boat.
I know.
That's my problem.
But in 1989, that's what you had.
It wasn't worth. It was worth more. I don't know. It's like, that was my great grandpa. It's paper.
It's a paper boat that his older brother, who irresponsibly let him play in a storm.
Yeah, and I think it's, he's not 2, by the way, for it to be that passionate about this paper boat. So right there, it's kind of like, I just want to say, I'm kind of not rooting for the kid at that point.
Yeah, I think he's not paying attention, he's slamming his face off things.
Yeah, you don't have Facebook or your phone to distract you, kids, so come on now.
I know, there's no excuses. There's no damn excuses.
I don't think you're going to make it. But,
and then the clown pops up, and
the thing goes down the drain.
The drain.
In the sewer, whatever.
And it's the classic moment trailer where, cuts to the kid, the music slowly goes away, cuts to the sewer, nothing, cuts to the kid, I'm looking, where is it? All of a sudden, BAM! Clown, up pops the old fucking Ronald McDonald. Old Samsonite popping up to fuck shit up, man. Old Pennywise saver. The old...
whatever they call him. Do you know what they call him in this one? Pennywise? Okay.
Yeah, I'm
I didn't
guessing
know if it was still...
Pennywise.
It's a weird... Who thought of that? Like, how do you come up with
Pennywise? Stephen King, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, what's that mean? Is that like Greek for something or Latin for something? Pennywise.
It's worth a Google, friends out there. Google it, why don't you?
Pennywise.
I like it though. I can name a son. We can name a son Pennywise.
Pennywise. Yeah.
Yeah, good old PW.
Pennywise.
Pennywise, the old wise tale.
It's just strange.
It is an interesting name, and that is a good point. I wonder if there is more to the name, which you might explain in the book. The one thing I do know about the book, though, which they didn't do it in the TV movie, because in the TV movie, he pops up,
right.
With the balloon. Hey, Georgie, would you like a balloon? And then little Georgie says, I can't talk to strangers. Oh, that's okay. I'm Pennywise, the dancing clown. And then he's like, oh, okay, we're friends now. And
sure.
Sure, because that's the old classic.
That's how we're not strangers anymore.
Classic
I introduced myself to you.
And then he asks, oh, do they float? Oh, yes, Georgie. They float.
This is what float?
My dick? No, I don't know. I'm guessing that means souls or get trapped souls maybe if it gets you. But I know that in the TV movie, he opens his mouth and Tim Curry has fangs.
Right, yeah.
His eyes are all crazy now and he fade to black or whatever. But in the book, and I haven't read it, but I was told this, and I really do want to check out the book before this film comes out. But in the book, apparently, they describe it, and the clown rips off Georgie's arm, puts his hand in and pulls out Georgie's heart. Like he rips out his arm, goes inside and pulls out the heart. I want to see it in this movie.
It's a little...
God damn it. I want to see it in this movie.
You don't think that's a little dramatic?
Not in today's audience, man.
I know. I'm kidding.
You gotta shock the audience for them to keep coming back. So Georgie's out. Everyone knows that. Like, I think everyone before going in the movie knows that little Georgie Blue he's going up shit river. Or down shit river, in his case. So don't play in the rain, kids. Don't make paper boats.
Paper boats aren't worth your arm getting ripped off and your heart getting pulled out.
Yeah.
I think you can get another paper boat.
Yeah, man.
Go play in the rain. And then, and also, you keep seeing the red balloon floating around.
It's true.
Is it in their heads or can everyone see it?
No, they are the only ones that see this stuff.
At
least that's what it was.
Right, that's why I was asking.
So, like, I know in the TV movie, because there's a shot in this trailer where it shows one of the boys, the heavier boy, in what looks like a library, and he sees a balloon floating past. And I know in the TV movie, and I'm guessing probably the book, that the character, I think Richie, is grown up, and he's in the library, and he sees Tim Curry. Hey, Ricky! And balloons start popping and blood spraying people, but they don't see it except for him, which is kind of cool. And I'm guessing that's going to be the same case in this film. So I wonder if they're going to take those scenes or kind of like mix and match them. Like scenes that maybe happen to the characters as adults may happen to them as kids. So I don't know. I'm going to read the book before this movie. I know the book's thicker than a son of a bitch, but...
It is.
Sometimes you got to take them thick, kids. What? Just saying how it is.
Well, I mean, I know that the actual name Pennywise basically means like cheap. Like it's like you're very careful about the way you spend even a really small amount of money. So I'm just curious why he picked that name or that word, I guess, as a name for the clown. So
I don't know. Who knows, man? Stephen King, props to him. I mean, goddamn it.
And it does say it's not actually a clown. It's like an entity that takes the shape.
The shape. Because it could take shape
of whatever.
Anything.
Right, but I'm saying that's what our prediction was. That's what it was. But yeah, they see that red balloon always floating around.
Yeah. And there's a part of the trailer which movie buzz and people are saying that they think it's the voice of the clown. There's a part in the trailer, I think when it shows one of the sewers, you hear like what sounds like a kid's voice saying, "They all float down here."
Right. Yeah.
And audience,
you'll float too. You'll float too.
Well, no, there's that part, but there's a part where you hear a voice say that, and people are saying that it's voice, but that's not proven. I mean, that could be, they even show the shot of the kid at the end in the sewer, which that definitely an awesome way to end the trailer with a big boom like that.
Right.
So I don't know if this actor who plays it is going to have that kind of like lullaby children type voice. That might be his voice, or it might be a snippet of sound that Georgie says, and for some reason people think that's its voice.
So maybe that part is actually it that took the form of Georgie.
Oh, probably, because if Georgie's dead.
Yeah.
Georgie.
Does he get killed early? I mean, at least in the original one, I can't remember what you said.
Yeah, pretty early on.
And also in the trailer they show that part where the kids are watching a slideshow.
Yeah, so which looks like an awesome scene, and I wonder because in the original TV movie there's a sequence when the kids are looking at a photograph, maybe black and white, I'm not sure, and they say the photograph starts coming to life, and all the kids are hovered over the photograph looking at it, and you see little Tim Curry like coming through, popping up. You're all dead soon, or whatever he says, and I wonder if this projector thing is kind of like alternate version of that sequence.
I think
it's kind of similar.
Yeah, because they're all watching.
Photo.
Yeah, it shows them all watching it and going through each slide picture, and then it starts going by itself, and it starts going faster and faster, and then because it's a family picture, and each one it's moving around from each person,
and they all start freaking out.
And it gets to the picture of the mom, someone's mom,
some chick.
Yeah, but there was like a woman and a man and kids in the picture, so I'm assuming it was one of their mothers. But regardless, it's going faster and faster, and it slowly, as the picture's going, you start just seeing that it's it, and not the woman anymore.
It's just creepy. It's a creepy sequence. I like it. I'm liking it. Another good thing with this trailer, at least compared to, because by the way, Wacko audience, we're going to be doing a lot of trailers. Any hot new trailer, we'll definitely be talking about it. And I think the good thing about this one compared to, let's say, a new trailer right now is Spider-Man. And, boy, do they show a lot. Like, you could probably watch the Spider-Man trailer and fucking figure out the entire movie. What's gonna go, how it's gonna end. This movie, it's so all over the place that they did a good job. I think most horror movie trailers do a pretty good job of not giving away too much.
Yeah.
I think this trailer was well done.
I think this one did just that. I
think so. It's scary. I can imagine seeing it. Never got to physically see this trailer in a theater yet, with the darkness and the speakers and surround sound. But I imagine it seems like it's gonna be loud and scary. And there's some pieces of music during the trailer, which I imagine is from the movie, that sounds very eerie and sometimes similar to Stranger Things. Which the fucking one of the kids in it is from Stranger Things. So this dude's like the go-to horror Mike. Kid, Mike in Stranger Things. It's gonna be a massive hit, I guarantee it. And it could suck. I mean, who knows how it's gonna turn out? I mean, not to get too negative about trailers, but sometimes you see a trailer that's way better than the movie. Yeah. Probably more so than not anymore. I
mean, I don't think that's gonna happen with this one though.
Why not?
I could be wrong, but I just don't think so. I feel like it's doing its job, and everybody knows what the premise of the movie is already because it's a remake. So it's almost like having a little bit of a difference with the way it goes, but I think it's gonna stay true to the original movie,
or at least the novel.
Or the novel.
You you got to go back to the novel.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the movie
the
is
novel,
different than the novel.
I am going to get it. I am going to purchase it and read it because there's supposed to be scenes in it that are very bizarre. Like, I keep reading how there's a scene, it's some, orgy type scene with the kids.
Ew.
With them.
What?
I think along the lines of, if we're not virgins, it won't come after us. Somehow maybe they think or say, maybe this is a way to stop it. So apparently in the novel that is involved. And I guess there is an original script. I'm going to read it right now. I know the professor isn't here, which you'll all meet the professor soon.
Right, yes, he's the...
But I have... here's a fact.
Current special guest.
I don't know if I could pronounce his name, but Cary Fukunaga's script contains scenes involving children so sexual in nature, several parents pulled their child actors out of auditioning for it.
Wow.
And this is the original script for this new movie. The studio asked Fukunaga to rewrite these scenes, but he felt them so important to the spirit of the book, he chose to completely leave the project instead. So clearly this Cary Fukunaga, who sounds like one hell of a guy, was very adamant about having some massive sexual either overtones or scenes involving these kids. And yeah, the fact that the parent says, no, my kid's not going to audition for this. But it does intrigue me about the book, though, because I'm wonder what... I'm just curious. 'Cause I didn't know that, because on TV movie, there was nothing like that.
No.
If this movie is, in fact, rated R, which I don't think that's official yet. Mm-hmm. But I really hope so. Because then... Because that's the thing, the original movie, I suppose there were some scary parts. Tim Curry in the original was awesome. And actually, he was, at some point... approached to reprise this role.
Oh yeah, it was.
He backed out, and he might be retired out of acting now too. I think he had some health.
He's pretty older. He's
older. I mean, he's got to be. I'm sure 60s, pushing 70. I mean, Rocky Horror Picture Show, which was his first thing, was when was that? 70s, early 70s. But he was apparently approached to reprise this role, which, nah, man, get someone new. They got some kid. I think he's 20s, mid 20s. And, I'm excited, because you should do that. Don't...
He's done
Why would you get... Yeah, it just doesn't make sense, And,
right, but I guess if you loved the original, the first movie, if he did it, I don't think it would have been terrible, but he already did it, so...
Rumored to be approached, or at least according to the internet, because we all know that's always true. Of course. But some actors that apparently were rumored was Johnny Depp...
Ooh.
Willem Dafoe... Hugo Weaving, which I think is Hugo Weaving from The Matrix, right? The fucking suit guy. Some other fan favorites include Michael Shannon, not certain who that is, Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey?
J.K. Simmons.
Well, I guess if it
Channing
was...
Tatum, too.
Channing, is it seriously?
That's what it says. Again, this is what it says. I mean, can you imagine?
Channing, no.
Yeah, well, apparently the movie was in development for 7 years before filming actually began. So that's why I'm curious if, with Stranger Things becoming this massive hit, if that really, really kind of was the fire that got them going.
Right, but how long was Stranger Things in production? I mean, if this was being, in the works for 7 years, that's a pretty long time.
The creators of Stranger Things, the Duffer Brothers. Which I don't know if that's a Slovak name or I don't know what that is, but I guess they wanted to do the film.
Yeah.
They were turned down, and then they did Stranger Things, according to the internet. So, that was big. Well, fuck you. I want to do another movie about kids on bikes with monsters.
Some kind of... Yeah.
Because it is. If you watch the trailer, it really does seem like...
There's just going to be a section of movies now where it's just kids on bikes running away from monsters.
We are due for a Goonies remake, because I guarantee that's going to probably now happen sooner than later.
Probably.
It's another Wacko prediction, another WP.
I agree. Although, I can't say I actually watched the Goonies full through, because I was scared of everything as a kid. So.
We'll do an episode. People tend to like the Goonies, so maybe at some point down the road, Wack fans out there will be an episode regarding the Goonies. So, to wrap everything up, we're going to wrap this up. Because, Lord, how long can you talk about a trailer?
Well, but
how many tangents have we did? But apparently we did.
But it's it.
It's it. And...
that should be the new title. It's it.
It's it. Coming. It.
It. It's it.
It's here. So there might be, since there's such a long gap until the movie's released, there could be a second trailer. And if there is, perhaps,
I think there would be.
Perhaps we'll come back and perhaps we'll record another one. That was not a good it impression.
I wasn't sure who that was.
I was trying to do my it.
If I close my eyes, I'm not sure.
I'll do one more, but I have to quote it because if I try to talk, it doesn't work. But
hiya, Georgie. Oh, you'll float down here, Georgie. And when you're down here, you'll float too.
Eats him up. Eats that little bastard up. Which, don't fucking be playing in the rain, kid. And watch where you're going. I hope you enjoyed tonight's podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe below. Signing off. Whacking off.
Whacking off. See ya.
Thank you.